Hey everybody, sPidA here, the Fight Card Podcast, of course, being joined by local professional mixed martial artist once again, Zachary Borrego, who just left the building, and there you are, man. How are you, brother?
Pretty good, man. How you doing?
Man, pretty good, bro. I mean, of course, it's early Friday morning. Yesterday, actually all week, man. This heat. I gotta ask you, you're in training, but I mean, it can't be that hard cutting weight these days, bro. It's been freaking hot as hell, bro.
Yeah, no, I've definitely had to switch up my schedule just a little bit to include like my outside stuff, pretty early in the mornings. But yeah, hopefully as we start getting a little bit closer, the weight will start dropping down a little bit more easier, as we start, working out during the day and stuff. It's pretty much a sauna.
No, no, definitely, man. And that's one of the things I was thinking also because I mean, a lot of the gyms here, not just in town, but I mean, all over the place, they don't have it, central air, or if they do, they don't use it. And I'm thinking, man, I'm
hmm
I'm, I'm hoping they're at least cranking up the fans, bro, because it's been like 104, 108. It's been freaking hot, man. So
Yeah. Nah, luckily for us, we have a good, our base for our gym is kids, so we can't let them suffer that much, so we crank on the AC for them, and once it gets to the adult class at that time, we kind of, turn off the fans or pick it up a little bit, but we're good.
no, no, definitely glad to hear, man. Because of course, I mean, you are local, man. You've been fighting and representing the Southside of San Antonio for years, not just in MMA, but
hmm
growing up, like you had mentioned in prior interviews, man, competing in karate tournaments, you know, uh,
Yeah.
going against some other UFC veterans that have been through the big shows and whatnot. But I mean, day after day, bro, like this fight came up. I mean, was it something? Were you waiting for this? Were you like, okay, you know what? You just fought locally, your last fight.
hmm
Were you planning the fight again locally, or was the opportunity there and you just jumped on it?
So going back to my last fight in March, man, we really thought, if we would have won that fight, we would have probably gone back to the contender series. So there wasn't really anything set up as far as like, okay, as far as like a schedule goes, because we were
Right.
really focused on getting that win and then fighting sometime in late, August, early September. But unfortunately, that didn't go my way. And I know that's kind of like a negative tune to it, but it's really something that I think I fought a good opponent, and I learned a lot from that fight. There wasn't really much that I could have changed. Of course, maybe picked up my hand here and done this and that, but they're very very small mistakes. So I don't hang my head too far down on that. And we took I would say about a week to kind of recover and see what was going on, and then we were like, you know what, let's try to get one in before the contender series starts, just to kind of be in that maybe last call, short notice type of thing. But also, man, I couldn't stand having that loss, in my mouth, especially being in front of my hometown. And so, how, talking to the promoter, talking to my management to get a fight, we were kind of going back and forth. And, this opponent, I think, is a great opponent for me just because his record is, a very good record. He's 6-1. He's out of a good gym in Colorado. And I think it's the fight that I need to kind of get back to tell people like I'm still one of these top prospects. I lost to a top prospect, and I don't want people to, think like, oh, it's, I know I'm still up there. It's just little mistakes
Right.
that we have to tighten up.
No, no, definitely, man. I mean, I was there watching, watching the whole event, man. And of course, I mean, the
hmm
fact, well, one of the things that I picked out of that fight, man, was the fact that you kept fighting, dude. I mean, throughout that whole fight, you could have given up, during that last round, and you didn't.
Yeah.
You hung on and you kept fighting back, and it wasn't just
hmm
so much offensive, but you're being defensive and offensive. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I was just like, man, you showed a lot of heart, man. And I know, I mean, your friends, your family, of course, are going to be the first ones to say, like, oh, man, it's just it's a loss. You'll be back. And I mean,
hmm
are you kind of like, hey, do you need that not so much the sympathy, but do you need that kind of talk? Are you more of a like, hey, you know what, tough loss, but get back. Let's go, let's
hmm
keep going.
No, I don't think I really need that at all. I think it's all at the end of the day, you're a fighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
If you're really about it, you don't need the extra people to come and tell you this
right,
and that. You know what you got to do. You know what you got to clean up, and of course, it's good to hear. It's good to have
right.
that support system, which I do have a very strong support system. But the goal hasn't changed, you know, like we took a little bump in the road and now we got to figure out how to get back to, you know, where we were. I think that fight did show my heart. I think you know, there was a few times where I was out of it a little bit and then I came back and, you know, that was kind of the first time I experienced that. And I felt the decision to like maybe just shell up and wait for it to stop, you know, and I'm glad that I was able to feel that and find a way to fight through it. So, like I said, even though it was a loss, man, I think I learned a lot about myself. I think I showed the type of fighter that I am. You know, I'm always going to be an entertaining fighter, whether it's, you know, any fight that I'm involved in, people are going to be on the edge of their seats. You know, unfortunately, it was probably for the wrong reasons for this last one, but like I said, man, it's just a learning lesson that we had to take on the chin. You know, it's this game isn't a sprint; it's a marathon, and I'm glad I was able to get that experience.
No, no, for sure, man. Because I mean, you know, a lot of people are. We talk about your background as far as martial arts, man, but when it comes to your MMA career, it hasn't been
Hmm.
that long. You know, you've already gotten a lot of
Yeah.
a few great opportunities, man, and you've gotten uh, a lot of eyes on you. You know, so now,
Hmm.
I mean, you're still new to the game, so to speak. You know, without the respect, I mean, you're definitely talented. You know, you have the skills. You're
Yeah.
young. You know, you want to do this, which is a big one. You know, so I mean, what are you thinking? I mean, as far as like 5 year plan, I mean, what are you thinking in
Hmm.
5 years, bro?
Yeah, I think, you know, in 5 years, I'll definitely be, you know, in the UFC at that point. I think maybe closing in on that top 15, top 10. You know, I think I'm a little bit more experienced and not so naive in the sense of how easy the path can be. I don't want to over complicate it, but at the same time, you know, I understand the work that it takes to get there. And I know that I still have like a long, you know, path ahead of me. But, I think honestly, if things go right, I can get maybe two more in before the end of the year, maybe pushing for a third. And then at that point, kind of be on the short notice list and you know, see if I can get a call up maybe in late 2023. You know, we'll see where it's at. But at the same time, I think because of my journey so far, like I've learned a lot about patience. I've learned not to rush, you know, not to rush anything. And so um, when I'm ready, I'll be ready. And when it's time, you know, there's no more like contender series things. Oh well,
Yeah.
he got me earlier. Oh, it's this. No, when I'm ready to be there, and when I'm there, I know I'm going to be there to stay, and I know this experience that I have with me is gonna, you know, allow me to have that longevity. So, uh, you know, 5 years definitely be dominating the middleweight division and sneaking into that top 15, top 10.
You see, and I was gonna ask you on that. I mean, as far as the weight division, you are planning on staying at 185, right?
Yeah, yeah, as of right now, you know, of course we might get I feel like it's so weird, man. My body type is you know, I've always been kind of like a late bloomer, you know, like I didn't hit my growth spurt until like senior year of high school and then I had another growth spurt like a couple of years ago, like my last year of college. Like I've just always been kind of like a uh late bloomer. And so I feel like I'm still growing into my body. You know, I think this past two camps we've kind of narrowed it down and dialed in as to like how to get my body strong but at the same time lean. And you know, I'm feeling lean right now, so I think I can make 185 you know, for a while, you know. And then
Right.
when the time comes and it's getting way too hard, then at that point, you know, we'll maybe think about moving up. But the weight misses before in the past, I think were just, you know, poor diet choices, not being disciplined. You know, I hate to make the excuse because there really shouldn't be an excuse, but just being naive and being young, you know, I think that that like I'm not this kid anymore that was like, oh, I can maybe have a few drinks and then go spar in the morning. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's a very disciplined lifestyle, and it's a lifestyle that I'm looking forward to living because just having that martial arts lifestyle, I feel like brings peace, you know, with everything else. And so, you know, I'm enjoying it so far.
No, no, for sure, man. And the fact that, like you said, you're a late bloomer when it comes to, you know, like you said, growing into your body, man. Because,
Hmm.
and I gotta ask this, but are you still kind of, do you kind of forget that you're that tall, man? Because you're a tall dude, man. You're a pretty big guy. So I mean, are there
Yeah.
times at home and you're like, oh man, I forgot I can't, you know, you hit the not the ceiling, but hit the door. Is there
Yeah.
anything out there that? you kind of forget?
Nah, I mean, not really, just because of my size, it is very hard to.
Ah, lost him real quick. Wait for him to jump back on.
You.
You
Can
got
you
it?
hear
There
me?
you go, boss.
There we go. Sorry about that.
No, no, you're good.
Um, I was just saying, as much as sometimes I just see myself as like a regular person, you know what I mean? But because it is very hard to find sparring partners, like that's kind of like a weekly reminder almost that like, man, I am a big guy, and at this size, people are limited. So I am reminded of it, as I'm trying to get ready for fights. But at the same time, man, I tell people all the time, I'm talking to training partners pretty much on a weekly basis, and I'm a big believer in you can get work with anybody. You know what I mean? We right now we're blessed enough, and I'm things are going well enough to where we're able to bring in training partners to my gym. Before I was having to like go find people, and it's just kind of working out right now to where we're bringing people in, and I'm getting some good work. But at the same time, when those guys aren't able to make it, because of they're at their gyms or whatever, like I'm still able to get some work in with, some smaller guys, or, whatever it may be. So it it definitely like is a reminder constantly, but at the same time, it's nothing too big to worry about.
No, no, definitely. And of course, I mean, you have your dad that's pretty much your number one fan, bro. And he's been by
Hmm.
your side since forever. I mean, he holds the mitts with you. He's out there training with you, and I mean, he's got to be one of your best sparring partners, man. I know he can take a hit, bro. So
Yeah, no, it's funny you say that, man, because he was gone for a past couple of days. They had to bring my brother back from college.
right,
And like literally the first day he got back, I'm like, let's knock out some pads, So I'm not even kidding, man. Like the second punch I threw, he was like, "Oh, my shoulder," and I'm like, "That's what happens when you're taking a week off. You got to be ready for this heat." So
no, no
he's
kidding, man.
yeah, he's
And I had
rehabbing
seen,
right now.
yeah, because he actually took a train ride, right? I don't know if it
Yeah.
was all the way out there, or was it once he got to go pick up your brother?
So they landed in Portland. My brother stays in Eugene, but Eugene, Oregon is a kind of a smaller city, and so it's just a little bit more cheaper and more convenient to fly
Right.
into Portland. And then they took a train from Portland to Oregon, or from Portland to Eugene,
Oh, okay,
which is
okay.
like a 3 hour train ride or something like that. But I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to Oregon. I went out there for the first time uh, probably a couple months back, and man, that is beautiful. Like the whole state is beautiful. So
Oh
maybe
yeah,
after the fight, I'll
man.
go back.
Yeah, you see, and of course, I mean, I've never made it up that far, man. I mean, but I
Mhm.
see photos and I see as far as what goes on, and yeah, bro. I mean, it's definitely a sight to see. If those
Yeah,
that have been able to witness it, by all means, bro, you got to take it in.
yeah.
And bro, and of course, this opponent, man. I mean, coming up, like you said, I mean, he is a tough guy, man, like yourself. He does come from a good camp. I mean, he's in Colorado. I mean, when a lot
Hmm.
of the fighters come from Colorado, or for instance, like when the fighters from here go and fight in high altitude, man, a lot of times they talk about that high altitude. I mean, they're like, "Oh man,
Yeah.
you're gonna gas out." Do you think it's different for them to come fight over here, man? Because Texas is a whole different heat transfer,
Hmm.
man. I mean, he's out there probably walking around at 70-degree weather, and we're over here boiling, bro. So do you
Yeah.
think something
No.
like that would be a factor?
I mean, I think his conditioning is going to be on point
Yeah.
just for the fact that he's training in altitude. You know what I mean? Although this specific opponent, we have seen that, I don't want to give away too much, but it
Right,
seems like
right,
he does gas out, pretty quick. So I don't know if, maybe he's changed it up, but I definitely think as far as like anywhere in Texas, he's probably okay. But San Antonio's humidity, man, is something different. You know
yeah,
what I mean? And luckily, like, I'm kind of used to it, and just having my brother down here, he's used to that West Coast, nice breeze, and he's like dying, so I know that training in this humidity definitely is going to give me a little advantage too. But at the same time, I don't really think about it too much. I think, like I said, the film doesn't lie. So
right.
we know what we have to do, and I'm excited for this fight because I think it's going to show my full kind of just kind of experience as a martial artist from what I've been through, and what I've learned, and taking what I can from tape, and putting it to use.
No, no, definitely, bro. And I mean, like you mentioned, as far as your martial arts career, man, coming up from karate and actually still involved in karate, training out
Hmm.
of your dad's gym or y'all's, family gym. Now, one of the slogans that I've seen on there, man, is always been, Southside versus everybody, bro. I mean,
Hmm.
that mentality, where does that come from?
I think you just have to kind of be around the South Side to kind of get
Yeah,
where it's coming from. You know what I mean? I don't like to speak on it too much, just because there's always like kind of a stigma with the South Side, and
right,
I'm a big advocate of trying to break that. But it's hard to like not pretend like it's there. But of course, the South Side of San Antonio has always been kind of, in my opinion, looked down upon a little bit. We've never been like up to par with the other sides of town, and we kind of take that to heart, and we every time we perform, whether it's in sports or whether it's in uh you know academics or whatever, we kind of have that chip on our shoulder, and when you've done that for so long, you kind of just carry that around. And I think it's shown in my career so far that like I'm not really, I don't care who's in front of me. I know where I come from. I know, what we have to get through to kind of just
right.
be at the same level, and so we just kind of carry that around. And it doesn't matter who's in front of us. We can get through it.
No, you see, and that's pretty much what I mean. The way I see it and when I hear it, man, a lot of people might think negative of it, but for me, it's
Hmm.
basically a reminder, like you said, you are from the South Side, so it's like that mentality of having to work hard to prove that, hey, you know what, we are here, we are from the South Side of San Antonio.
Yeah.
It's a sense of pride, man. So I definitely
Hmm.
respect that, bro.
Yeah, and another thing too is like it's so funny, man, because I always like my mom grew up on the east side and my dad grew up on the west side, and then like we are in the south side now. So it's like I have all three ghettos, you know what I'm saying, mixed
Oh
in a
yeah,
little
bro.
bit. But at the same time, it's something that like I've taken because I played football on the east side. I went to middle school on the west side, like smack dab in the west side, and then of course I went to high school in the south side. And
Right.
it seems like every time, we're in these like, I don't know, I don't want to say like just not the best neighborhoods or
Right.
whatever, we have that chip on our shoulder. And that's why like it's so cool to see like Lanier whenever they go
Yeah.
far in basketball or whatever, and then Harlandale when it comes
Yeah.
to football, and East Central. And it's because we have this like this kind of chip on our shoulder, man, that like we can compete with anybody, and it doesn't matter where you're from or how much money your mom and dad has in the bank. We at the end of the day, it's a level playing field. And so I'm glad that that was kind of my experience growing up, because it's definitely shaped me into who I am now.
No, no, definitely, bro. I mean, of course, I grew up on the west side of San Antonio, man. I mean, even now, I'm still here, bro. And
Hmm.
this event that's going on, I mean, of course, it's going to be once again at the Boeing Tech Center. I mean, that
Yep.
thing is like literally right down the street from my house, bro. So it's close by.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. They see how nice it is. I'm like, man, go a couple streets
Yeah,
down and
don't
you'll
go on that
see.
side, bro. You're like,
Yeah,
let's stay on this side of town. But
yeah,
yeah, and it's true, man. Because even like here, where I live, it's a cul-de-sac. Everybody's a homeowner, so there's
hmm,
a lot of respect. People take care of their yards. It's
for
not
sure.
bad, but you can hear the gunshots on the other side of the street. You can hear the people fighting, and the other, it's just
Yeah.
it's everywhere, man. But yeah, bro, it's just for me, I grew up here.
And
It's always been home, man. So
that's another thing too. Like I tell people all the time, because it really like I'm kind of the same way. Like we grew up in my grandpa's house. He owned like an acre of land, so we've kind of been on some nice land. Um, and I know that my life, of course, with my parents being, a business owner, a small gym, nothing crazy, but at the same time, like I know I lived a lot, a lot more comfortably, I guess you can say, than some other people,
right,
and they're not too far down from me. They're across the street. They're people that I went to high school with and stuff like that. And so I'm very blessed and I'm very thankful for what I have. But at the same time, like we come from the same place. You know what I mean?
right.
It's the same thing. And we just, if I'm able to represent that and have the ability to kind of showcase what we can be, then by all means I'm going to do it.
No, for sure, bro. And of course, I mean, these fights, you do just that, man. You put yourself in the against somebody when it comes to tests, skill yourself, test your
Hmm.
skills, should I say? But I mean, this coming fight, and without giving anything away, I mean, what can people look forward to, man? I mean, of course, always a great, exciting fight, but can we expect any surprises, man?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I think it's known, after a loss, you got to come back and you got to come out strong. So, like I said, this is like the perfect opponent. All his wins are in the first round. Most of my wins are in the first round.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not looking to go to decision. I don't think he is either. What's cool and what I like about this opponent is he's shown that like he can kind of grapple a little bit. So if it gets to the grappling, I'm comfortable there. But I expect I expect a calculated, more precise kind of a sharpshooter type of style of
Right.
a fight for myself. And yeah, I think I can take him out within a round.
Nice, bro. And of course, man, and I brought this up before. I mean, not just with yourself, but with other fighters. I mean, whenever you're touched by the Dana White Contender Series, the Ultimate Fighter, uh, you kind of have that target on your back, because people
Hmm.
now are like, oh man, that guy's a UFC veteran. I get a win against that guy, I'm gonna look better. So, I mean, on this one, I mean, is that pressure on there? I mean, are you kind of thinking like, oh man, you know what, like I can't lose because,
Yeah, I mean, I never really try to add extra pressure. Like, there's already a lot of pressure
oh
stepping
yeah,
into a
bro,
cage, as it is. So all that extra stuff, I try not to really think into. I'd be lying to you if I said like it's not in the back of my mind. But at the same time, like I've kind of embraced that position. I've embraced, where I've been before in the past, and I do think, like I should have that chip on the shoulder. I should be like, no, I am kind of what this next level should be like. And
yeah,
if you want to get there, then you're gonna have to prove it to me. And as far as me, then you're just kind of in my way. It's the fight game. Like as much as I'm a very uh, a lot of people tell me all the time, especially now that like I guess my fighting career is getting kind of a little bit more bigger. Like people always tell me, like, dude, I have no idea how you're a fighter. Like you seem so chill in person, because I am. But at the
yeah,
same time, when it comes to being like when there's a fight scheduled, like we both know what we got to do. You know what I mean? It's nothing that like we gotta pretend about or anything like that. So, if he has that target on my back, I embrace it. I think he
yeah.
should. I think I am this top level prospect, and now I just got to prove it.
No, no, no doubt, man. And of course, and I'm gonna put this poster up real quick so people can see it. I mean, this is the fight that's gonna be happening. Of course, it's Fury FC 81. It's gonna happen here in San Antonio at the Boeing Tech Center once again. Now, this is gonna be July 16th, so of course it's gonna be on a Sunday, correct?
Correct. Yes.
And when it comes to fighting on a Sunday, bro, and I've asked this for a lot of fighters, especially with Fury, man. Is it kind of odd to fight on a Sunday, or are you training to where like we're gonna spar Sundays just to get mentally ready for this?
Yeah, we'll switch up. Like we'll probably do one more Saturday sparring, and then the next 2 weeks we'll start doing some Sunday things. But honestly, like it's so funny you said that, because I'm okay with fighting on Sunday. You know what I mean? Like it hasn't been a weird shift. It is kind of weird to get used to, but this last fight when we fought on Friday,
Yeah.
that was weird. That was super weird. Like I was like, I remember we drove to the arena, and my jiu-jitsu coach and my pops were both like, "Are you good?" I'm like, "I think like I don't I'm about to fight in a few hours." Like it was just really weird,
Yeah,
like
man.
it was super weird. But then again, man, like the contender series is on Tuesdays. That's also weird. So like I feel like at the end of the day, it's a mental thing. And like I said, I'm glad that I've had these experiences kind of early in my career, fighting on a Tuesday, fighting on a Friday against these top level
Yeah.
prospects. You know what I mean? Because it makes fighting on a Sunday, that much easier. So it's just a mental game that you kind of got to prepare yourself for. But at the end of the day, man, you gotta, if you say you're a warrior, you got to be ready to go at any point.
No, no, for sure, man. And of course, I mean, not to mention the last fight, the UFC was the day after. So there
Yeah,
was a lot of UFC fighters, people in the UFC at the arena, and of course the pressure, like you said. I mean, I'm pretty sure you were thinking like, man, more people are watching, not just on the UFC Fight Pass, but they're live.
yeah.
So on this one, I mean, there's not going to be that many people in attendance when it comes to like, like before, like your last fight. So is that kind of
Hmm.
more relaxing, or are you not even looking at that?
It is. I mean, I've been told, a few times already that I am kind of like on this short, no, I don't want to say short notice, but I am like in the matchmakers kind of, eye. So I think regardless if they're there in person or not, my fights are going to be watched. But at the same time, like I said, man, like before, and you know, who knows? I may say this now, and then like a week from now, I'm like, oh shit, like it gets back to me. But I think the more and more that I think about those things, the more it just becomes extra stuff, you know. And my last fight, I was definitely thinking about it, and I think, you know, I'm always been pretty good at like taking things, learning from them, and then extracting what I can, taking away what I can from it, and you know, removing everything else. And so that's one of the things that I've been working on, man. Is it shouldn't matter if there's 15,000 people there or if there's one, you know, and
Right.
it's that one person's Dana White. Like the fight is going to be the same regardless. So,
No, no, for sure, man. I
yeah,
mean, when that whole COVID thing was happening, and I think McMahon was the only one that was sharing. He's over here doing like the yelling and hollering, and
yeah,
you know. But a lot of the fighters did say it was weird because there was nobody in attendance, and they kind of felt like, oh man, like nobody's watching, you know. But
yeah.
that's the kind of stuff you have to get used to, man.
Just to be honest, I prefer that. Like I prefer, um, as far as training partners goes, of course, I want my gym packed with training partners on sparring days. But like, I'm not one of these guys that like I like a crowd, but I don't mind if there isn't one. Like
Right.
I feel like more dialed in. Same thing with training. Like training, I feel like I have my best sessions when it's just with, you know, one or two coaches. Like not a lot of people, not a lot of extra stuff. It's just I guess kind of the mentality it puts you in, like no one's watching, it's just you and whatever you're doing. So I like it, but at the same time, man, I love hitting that big shot and then hearing everyone
Oh
yell,
yeah,
and
bro.
you know that's an exciting feeling.
No, no, definitely, man. I mean, especially, you know, like your last fight and this one coming up. I mean, you are going to fight locally. So, of course, your friends,
Hmm.
family, you know, gym, you know, students, everybody's going to be there, man. And no pressure, like you said earlier, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but it is going to be fun, man. I mean, I know you're going to go out there, give it 100%, you know, plus. So, I mean, I'm
Hmm.
looking forward to it, man. I know it is going to be Sunday. It's I think Saturday's my birthday. It's going to be my birthday, man, July 15th. So I'm going to be there Sunday celebrating
Okay.
with you guys. So I'll definitely be cheering you on, man. I mean, you are local to San Antonio, but I've seen you climb through the ranks, you know, when it comes to here, the regional circuit. You know, the
Hmm.
opportunities that you've gotten have been great, man, and I can see more coming. You know, one of the
Yeah.
things that Dana White, and he said it before, man, he's a big fan of fighters stepping up. Like if he
Hmm.
needs a fighter and they call somebody and you're like, yeah, I'll take it. Like if you were to call and say, and he's like, hey, I need a 205er. If you do
Hmm.
this, you know, the contract comes with it. Would you be willing to take that?
Probably yes.
Yeah, I
um
mean, you know, because it has
you
to
know,
happen, bro.
it's something like, man, me and my friends play these hypotheticals all the time. Like
Oh
my
yeah.
my best friend's always like, "All right, bro, let's just say they calls you, but your opponent's John Jones. You gonna take the fight?" I'm like, you know,
What's the
that one you
pay?
might have to think about a little bit.
Yeah,
Nah,
what's the
but at the
pay,
same
man?
time, the way that I've been training lately is I'm not training anymore for like regional talent. I'm training to, okay, how am I going to beat the Marvin Vittori's? How am I going to beat the Jared Cannoniers? You know, even though my skill level maybe isn't there yet, I feel like that's the mentality you got to have. How am I going to beat these Adesanyas? You know, because if you're just training to fight Joe Blow, like I don't feel like you're going to get anywhere from that. You know, so yeah, definitely. I think you know, I took on Bo Nickel on 4.5 weeks notice. You know, what's the big difference moving up 15
No.
pounds, you know? So,
Yeah,
yeah.
bro. You see, and that's one of the things I had asked UFC fighter Jeff Neal one time, man. And I said, you know what, man, if they were to call you and say, hey, you know what, we'll give you a championship fight, you know, would you take it? And he's like, yeah. He's like, why
Mhm.
wouldn't I? He said, that's what we're out. That's what we're fighting for. And I was like, damn, you know what? That mentality in me is switched because I was like, oh crap, like that's right, man. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, I mean, of course you want to be ready and you want to be prepared, you know. But I mean, if the opportunity comes, I mean, you know, as long as the pay comes with it and it's a good paycheck, man, you know, of course, you know.
Yeah. And I think at that point too, like a lot of people, again, I know I just said it, like I don't want to rush anything, but
Right.
an opportunity is an opportunity, you know what I mean? I think you can you can maybe get there and then take your time, but like at least you're there. You know what I mean? These
No, no,
opportunities only come, and uh you just got to be willing to be ready and take them on.
no, no, definitely, bro. And of course, like I said, man, I mean, this is going to be at the Fury FC Fighting Championship number 81. It's going to be on Sunday. For those here in
Mhm.
San Antonio, of course, definitely they can go to you guys for tickets, right? You guys still have tickets on hand?
Yeah, we have about 2 more weeks to sell them. I'm the co-main event, so, you know, I'm definitely, ready to put on a show. And you know, I love to hear the roar of the crowd. I love to, you know, sometimes my girlfriend and my friends are like, man, there's these people cheering for you. I don't even know if like they know who you are. And I'm like, that's good. You know,
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
we
Keep,
should,
let
that's
him
what we
hear,
should
man.
be doing. So yeah, definitely come out and support.
No, and real quick, and I was going to bring this up earlier, but yourself and Moreno are going to be on that card, man. I mean, he's going to be the main event. Are you
Hmm.
guys a package deal, bro? Because every time he fights, you fight. It seems like, bro.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard, man. I don't want to break the news, but I think it's already kind of broken out. But Moreno is out. So
Oh man, no kidding.
yeah, he had an injury I would say about a week ago. So he's debating on, you know, whether he's gonna, you know, get
Yeah.
further involved with that injury or not. But they did switch it up. So there's a new
Oh
opponent.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was looking at the card earlier too. I didn't see that on there, but that's unfortunate, man. Because I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I'm definitely a fan of the guy. I mean, he's one of your training partners when it comes to through life, dude. Because you guys started competing against each other, and now you know
Yeah.
helping each other grow. So hopefully, you know, speedy recovery, man. Of course. I mean,
Hmm.
if he is injured, you know, there's no need to put more strain on that. You know, I mean, let him recover.
Yeah, I think he's you know, I think he's a phenomenal fighter. You know, he's an excellent friend. And it definitely hurt me to hear about that because we both knew how big that opportunity was. But at the same time, you know, it's all in God's timing, and we kind of got to that understanding of, you know, let's take care of our bodies first before we you know, try to force something. So, like I said, I think he's trying to see a couple of different doctors to see what he's gonna do. But yeah, new main event, still the same. He's still the same opponent, but it's
Oh, okay.
a different guy.
Oh, okay, okay. No, well, I mean, I was hoping. I mean, it's sad that he's not fighting, but I thought you were gonna say now you're the main event. You know, they're gonna bump
Yeah,
you guys
no,
up.
I when he told me that, I was like, damn, is that gonna move me up? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
bro.
where's that gonna be? But I think they found. I mean, the new opponent is still a good matchup. It's Jacob Smith out of Oklahoma State.
Oh, not yeah, bro. Damn.
Yeah, so it's still it's a wrestler versus grappler, which you know how that may go, but
Yeah.
then it's still, you know, exciting to see.
No, you see, and one of the things I will say, man, is that whenever there's two wrestlers or two grapplers, for me it always seems like it turns into a
It just
striking
turns to a
fight.
stand up. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
like
exactly what.
they bang and nobody wants to go to the ground, and
Mhm.
I'm like, man, so we might see a knockout. We'll see. You know, definitely gonna
Yeah,
be exciting. Man, I mean, I didn't know that. So yeah, you know, hopefully Moreno recovers quickly, man. You know, not quickly, but safest way possible. You know, let him heal up and come back because he is up there, man. So I know. I
yeah.
was thinking like he gets this win, you know, he's in, you know, for sure. I mean,
Hmm.
he's definitely up there.
No, he's definitely, you know, on that short. And I mean, even with this injury, I think he comes back, maybe does one more, and he's
Yeah,
right back there. You know, so
yeah,
it's nothing. Little bump in the road. That's all you have to see it
right.
as. You know.
No, no, definitely, man. Well, bro, I mean, it's and I should have asked you earlier, but as far as sponsors, man, who do you have helping you for
Mhm.
this fight, bro?
Yeah, so I've been blessed, you know, with a whole bunch of supporters. Of course, my main sponsor is Live Oak Vodka,
Yeah.
who just recently sponsored Fury Fighting Championships. So we're kind of like on this, you know, co-promotion, I guess. But
Yeah.
no, Live Oak is doing some good stuff, man. It's a Texas-made vodka, you know,
Yeah.
for all of you Texas based people. And I swear to God to you, like I tried this vodka and I was like, no way. There's got to be a catch. It is the smoothest vodka I've ever
Nice.
had. So definitely, if you can get your hands on it, they have a couple of other lines as well. They have a tequila and then they have a gin line as well.
Nice.
Um, yeah, you can visit their Instagram page at Live Oak Vodka, and they'll give you all the information that you need for that as to where to purchase it. But also my other sponsors that have been with me, you know, since day one: Martinez and Associates, PlyoFit, Willie B's out of New Braunfels. We have Rita Hubner. She's a realtor who's you know, definitely someone that to reach out to.
Yeah.
She's just a couple of, you know, little specific. Some people in my family needed something, and she got them into it really
Nice,
quick.
bro.
Another bar, Unas Frias,
Yeah.
that's out there on the northwest side, northeast side, kind of. Super cool people. And of course, the new beer depot out there, kind of where you were at on Alamo Street.
Oh, okay.
downtown. Yeah,
Oh,
cool
damn.
little
I didn't
spot,
even
man.
know that.
Yeah, do you remember where the old Piedras Negras was?
Yeah. They
Yeah,
definitely. Oh, come on. You see, and
right in that
I
little
used to be
area.
reading at that place too, man.
Yeah. So big thank you and kudos to those guys. Like I said, you can go to my Instagram page, ZB_58, and you'll see pretty much, all those guys posted to my Instagram. But not only those guys, but everyone who's supported along the way, I really appreciate those guys for allowing me to chase my dreams.
No, no, for sure, bro. And of course, like I said earlier, for those watching, definitely if you need tickets, get them from the man directly. If not, they can get online. They can use your name and you get credit for it too, right?
I do. There's also been a lot of people asking me, like, there's tickets on the Techport Center, so not the Fury
Oh,
FC.
okay.
Yeah, and I believe from what people have told me, I haven't looked personally, but from what people have told me is tickets are like a couple dollars cheaper from the Techport Center.
Oh, okay.
But from my understanding is I don't know where those seats are. I know the seats that you
Nice.
get from Fury and from me specifically what seat you're going to be sitting in. The ones that they have, I don't even know what they're called. And like I just don't want people to get mad when they're sitting outside or something.
Oh,
So
no,
if
no.
you want to guarantee, yeah, if you want to guarantee a seat, I can show you specifically where it's at. You can get them through me or the FuryFC.tv website.
No, no, for sure, man. And that's great you said that because, of course, I mean, I've been to the venue a few times, the last Fury fight.
Hmm.
Obviously, I mean, you were a fan of the venue, man. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was cool, man. The only thing I didn't like was like how close everything was in the back. That was kind of weird. Cowboys, I guess, even though Cowboys was like super dark, you kind of had a little bit more room. Everything was really tight. There was just like a tarp that separated everybody.
Oh, wow.
Um,
I didn't know
yeah,
that.
that was the only thing I didn't like. But other than that, it was a beautiful arena. It was super cool to perform there. So
No, you
I
see,
can't complain too much.
I would imagine because the place is huge. I'm sure they would have had a spot somewhere else to put out all the fighters to get ready and warm up. But maybe they'll do it this time, man. Because yeah, bro, you definitely want that space. You guys want to be out there
Yeah,
getting warmed up.
we had to find like a room that had like another room in it that surprisingly was like this is only for the main event fighters. I'm like, what the hell? How did how did they get these rooms? But luckily they were able to let us in there to warm up and stuff.
No, no, yeah, it would make sense, man. I mean, definitely, bro. And of course, man, I want to thank you, man. I mean, you are local here, like I said. I mean, I've gotten to know you and your family, your dad especially, man. I mean, great guy.
Hmm.
And DK MMA, man. I keep seeing that, and I respect that, man. I respect you as a fighter, as a person, and I'm looking forward to this fight. Like I said, I'm going to be there cage side as well as pretty much everybody else. For those that can't make it that aren't in San Antonio, subscribe to the UFC Fight Pass. A great app, man. I've been, my second year on it, and it's watching fights like every week, man, literally. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of fights going on, and you can catch Fury UFC as well, man.
My girlfriend all the time is like, "You're watching fights again?" I'm like, "It's not.
Like,
It's not what it
what am I supposed
seems."
to do?
Yeah, but I
Man, bro, but
appreciate it, man.
no, no, thank you, brother. Everybody else, of course, Zachary Borrego. This is sPidA, the Fight Card Podcast. So next time, follow up.
See you guys.